Thank you, Pascal. So, from Paris, moved to London 7 years ago?
No, 2 months ago.
2 months ago. Okay, one of the other, I got the numbers mixed up. Somebody else was 7 years or something, but...
I've been living in Paris for
7 years in Paris. Okay, 2 months in London. Welcome to London. So you're enjoying it. Actually, I have to say, it hardly ever rains in London. This is very rare. It's always beautiful, yeah. So you work in digital advertising.
Yes.
And you've just kind of started helping your dad with a website for his business.
Yes.
You're not really sure that's what you want to do, and you're basically not sure what it is you want to do, but you have, I think you said, a sense that there's something about helping and supporting people?
Yes.
Okay. So my first thing is not actually a question, it's a task, it's an exercise.
Okay.
And so I'm going to turn this board around so that they can't see it, but you can. I'm going to have you write a bunch of stuff up on here.
Okay.
And what I want you to write is a list of, I want you to fill this whole piece of paper, and you can write small, with different things that you might like to do. And it can be anything. And you don't have to worry about how hard it would be, or how easy it would be, or how likely you are to be successful, or how likely you are to fail, or whether or not that would be approvable, or any of those things. You just write, and it doesn't even have to be like a career, anything that you would love.
Okay.
So write, 1, 2, 3, just all these different things.
But it has to be on a professional perspective?
No. Anything that you would love to do. Okay? Anything and everything. So let me turn this around for you. You can come over here so that nobody can see, and then we'll turn it around after.
Good idea.
Yeah, and then we'll turn it around after, and we'll go into the next part. And so while you're doing that, I'm going to go into a bit of a conversation about this. So this whole idea of does anybody remember the kind of the 3 points from the first talk about? Yeah.
Freedom, growth, and contribution.
Yeah, freedom, growth, and contribution. Those are kind of 3 elements that I've kind of found working with clients and myself. Those are things that when they have all those elements, it kind of feels like it's something you can be passionate about. It's easier to have a purpose when you feel free doing it, when you're growing, when you feel like it's contributory in some way. But there's another really important point in that talk. And it's that point of passions are not discovered or found, but what? Grown, yeah. Passions are created, not discovered. Purpose is grown, not found. This may sound subtle, it might just sound language or semantics, but it's not. It's so important. And so many people spend time trying to find their passion, and that idea that I'm searching for something, and eventually at some point if I find it, then this light will go on, and then I'll just have passion and purpose, and all of a sudden I'll be driven and pulled forward, and then finally. And the thing is, it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. As I said in the talk, it's like, do you believe in love at first sight? Well, sometimes it happens, but it's so rare. It's more like it builds up through engaging in something that's kind of interesting, and over time it becomes more and more. And so my work with people is really about helping them just see, well, what might be interesting, and starting to take steps in that direction, and letting stuff start to grow, and creating that. So, how's it going?
It's hard.
It's hard? What's hard? So far? Okay, let me look. Yeah, good. Keep going. Anything that you'd like to do or love to do. It can be profession. It can be.
Okay.
It can be helping people. It can be traveling. Anything.
Okay.
Everything. No limits. And the thing that makes it hard is the limits we put on ourselves. There's a really cool creative process that Walt Disney, I don't know if he invented it, but it was very popular, and he used it. And it was a process of Imagineering, and there's 3 stages. And there's the stage of Imagineering, which is the first stage. And in Imagineering, all you're allowed to do is use your imagination. Just come up with all these different ideas. Associative stuff, creative stuff. And there's one rule in Imagineering, and the rule is everything is a yes. Doesn't matter how silly or ridiculous it is. Everything is a yes. Because the thing is that we unconsciously criticize in the process of imagination, and so it stifles our ability to cross-associate and be creative, and our focus is too narrow, so we can't come up with ideas. So we limit ourselves. We write a few things and we're unconsciously stopping ourselves. So when you say everything is okay, and you remind yourself that everything is okay, when you start getting hung up, you're Imagineering all these different ideas. And the second stage in Disney's creative process is the realizer. Is taking all of these ideas and just putting it out in some medium or some form, drawing out all these characters or these different storylines or something, so that it comes from your imagination into some kind of format. And there's one rule with realizing, and that rule is everything is a yes. everything gets written down. Everything gets created and put into some form. And then the third stage, and these were separate departments at Disney, like different people, different hats, different times, is the critic. And the critic's able to say no, finally. But the reason that it's separated out is because if you bring the critic in too late, you lose the ability to access all of those things. In Disney's creative process, in creating Disney and the movies and all the animations and and the Disney World and all these things, it came from this process, but you can create your life in the same way. We're too early putting the critic in with the imagination. And here's another reason why imagination is so important. Most of you here tonight will have some sense or some inkling that something more is possible for you in your life. You at least know that there's a potential that's unrealized. And so you saw something like this talk and you said, I should go to this. You just kind of knew. You might even not know pragmatically what it is. You might even, furthermore, you might have a sense not only that there's something more possible, that there's something specific that I have a sense that I could be doing, but I don't know exactly what it is. And so there's not only a potential but a desire within you, but you don't have clarity cognitively, consciously in your mind as to what that is. And I always say to people, and you tell me if you agree with this, sometimes it's even more frustrating to have a sense that there's something there and to not know what it is than to just not have any sense at all. It's like the ignorance is bliss kind of idea. Waking up every day being like, I know this, I shouldn't be doing this job, I should be doing this, but what the hell is it? Shit. You know? And so imagination is the doorway to knowing what that is. Has anybody ever done improv acting? Anybody? Okay, so you can you guys know what I mean by just improvisation, allowing this creative flow to happen that comes from your unconscious. You're saying stuff that doesn't make any sense. When you first do improv and you're playing this game of just saying random stuff, you shock yourself at what comes out. It's usually pretty vulgar or sexual. You're like, where does all that stuff come from? All these things that are held back. After a while, it kind of relaxes and it becomes more diverse in your creativity, but there's stuff. And once you start to flow and imagine and don't limit yourself, all sorts of things get written down. Can you hear the pen going nonstop now? There's no end to it. When people reach out to me for coaching, keep going so there's no space left. When people reach out to me for coaching, they say, I don't know what I want to do. I said, send me a list of the top 100 things that you'd like to do. 100? Yeah. Okay. So some people say, oh yeah, I don't know if I'm able to do it. Just do it. Just start. And once people start and they get to like 7 or 8 or 10, all of a sudden the next 10's not so hard. Then the next 20 is not so hard. Then all of a sudden they have a list of 100 and they send it back to me. And it's a lot easier than you think. But we just don't usually allow ourselves to go there. But stretch yourself. Delve into your imagination. So I would say that to all of you. Write the list of 100 things. Send it to me if you want. You know? And we'll do this. The next step on that list is the even more useful one for the whole making money bit. Is that useful? Yeah, cool. Okay, I'm going to let you off the hook now. That sounds like it's enough.
I'm not proud of me.
You're not proud of you?
No.
Okay, why? Because there wasn't enough stuff?
I don't know.
There's plenty.
It's just basic.
It's just basic stuff? Well, here we go. This is going to be good. So, I'm going to do something to your things. It is very good, isn't it? It's almost like text. It's like a font. Dance. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What, in your opinion, I'm going to ask you for each of these things to tell me if it more serves you or it more serves other people in the world when you do this thing.
I guess it more serves me.
This one? Dance? Okay, cool. Let me see. I'm going to use purple for the ones that more serve you. And there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. This is important to know. And so, what about visit every country of the world? Is that more serving you or more serving other people in the world?
Me.
Okay, fine, good. Eat every cuisine in the world.
I think it's both because I would like to share that with someone or...
Okay. Which one is it? Which one more? Just if you had to pick one, which one is it more? They're all going to be both a little bit.
I enjoy it if it's only by myself, so I guess it's...
Is the
share.
act
Yeah.
more outward oriented or more inward oriented? It can be 49-51. I just want you to just make a choice.
50-50?
Okay, fine. I love it. I'm going to go with that. So learning, is that more serving you or more serving the world? What you do with that learning is separate. Learning.
Okay, me.
Okay, cool. Sing.
Me.
Okay.
Everything is about me.
Meet Frida Kahlo.
Yes, the spelling is wrong, but
That's okay. I know who
it's
she
just
is.
a painter I admire. And she's
Is it
dead.
for you? Yeah, it would be tough.
No, it's for me.
Okay. Learn to play guitar,
Yes.
piano,
Yeah.
violin. Cool. Spend time with my family.
Both.
Okay, cool. I'm into the both thing. I'm there. Salt. Run my own business.
Both, I guess.
Yeah.
It would have to be. Yeah.
So this one's an interesting one. I'm just going to challenge you on this. It's because run my own business. The running is about you. My own business. Yeah?
Yeah.
Can I put a purple line? We're going to turn it into something red, don't worry. But for now. Own a house in a warm place.
All about me.
Okay. Go to the beach?
Me.
Good. Live in the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Create a link between my island and the English-speaking islands?
Not really me.
No. Go to Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago?
Me.
Cool. Learn how to develop my intuitions.
Me again.
In the beginning, yeah. So here's the thing. When people send me back their lists of 100 things, I reply and I say, great. Now go back and divide them into 2 lists. And they want you to put these lists into one list is everything that more serves others and one that more serves yourself. And most lists come back 80% about the self and 20% about others.
Okay.
But that's fine, that's natural. And the reason it's fine and natural is because this is all about us. We want to feel more fulfilled, we want to have more passion and purpose in our life. And so the most obvious route to that is to do things for us that make us feel good. But there's also part of us that wants to do things that are outward oriented. And I talked about freedom, growth, and contribution. The contribution ones are the ones with the red. Okay? Even more importantly than that, for a pragmatic sense with tonight's talk, is these are the ones that are more likely to get you paid. In order for money to come to you from the world, you have to put value out into the world. So, ones you can take off the list as things that would make me money are things that are more about you than about others. Because value exchange doesn't happen that way. Now, that doesn't mean that you couldn't one day get paid for playing the guitar. You could, but this is about learning to play the guitar. And if you were an accomplished guitarist and you were like, play the guitar, well, maybe your playing the guitar is at a point where it could get you paid. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying this specific, and that's why I picked up on this, run my own business. If this was, I want to have a business where I am helping people, Charlotte, is it? Yeah, Charlotte, later we'll be talking to, helping people with their real estate transactions or helping them to heal. Okay, now it's a business it's about the action of and service of the business. So I was picking up on your language more so than a business itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you look at this list, and now I would say go home and do this for 100, like do more of these, right? But just with this one for now. Out of the ones that are underlined in red, which one would you most love to do first?
Caribbean.
I'm at Pascal. Oh, that one's not in red, I get it. Yeah.
It can't be this one.
It can't be?
It can't be.
Why?
No, I'm asking you.
It can be anyone you want.
It's
Cool.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spend time with family. And you should. And actually I want to back up. What about if it was the whole list, which one would you love to do first? Forgetting about money for a second, just like which out of all these things, which would you love to do first? The same. Yeah, cool. And that's what you should do. And here's why. The input ones they're not garbage, they're important. And they may be even more important than the red ones, because here's the thing. When you do stuff, that stuff that you would genuinely love, it fills you with spirit. It makes you feel fulfilled and happy, and you get some of that feeling of passion. And that is useful because when you're in that space and in that state, you're more creative, your brain flow is open, there's more oxygen in your brain, you're more courageous, you're more positive, you have more self-belief. And then it's much more likely that your list will be longer, you'll have more ideas, and you're more likely to engage in the things that are outward oriented. So these are all important. And do these too. It's just that this whole step right here is about you guys seeing the distinction between what I call input and output. The things that will serve you versus the things that will serve the world. And the only reason there's an important distinction there is because the latter is going to get you paid. Both are important for making you feel fulfilled, but only the latter one is likely to get you paid. Make sense? So, do this. Spend time with your family. Commit to something right now. What will you do to spend more time? Who will you go spend time with? Who will you call? What will you do?
I already called my parents, but they are far away, so I maybe should go to visit them.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, I plan to, but it's in some months. So.
Yeah. So would buying the tickets be an action towards that, or what?
The tickets are booked, yes.
Yeah.
So
what more can you do? You want to do something first. There's a part of you that wants to do this now. Like, it's more important than everything else.
Convince them to come to see me in London.
Cool. Before you go home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will.
They will.
This weekend. So.
Cool. You're going to call them this weekend, or they'll come this weekend?
They're going to come this weekend. So.
Oh, they already are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They are.
And so you're doing this, you have this planned already? Good. Yeah. Let's talk about the rest. This and this. Here's a question. Which one, eat every cuisine in the world, which I'm just taking from you, is kind of for other people too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And create a link between my island and the English-speaking islands. Which one's a little bit more scary? This one. Create a link.
Yeah. What's
scary about it?
The amount of work behind. It won't be easy, so it would involve many people.
Okay.
And it won't depend on myself, so I would have to convince people and to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not like that.
Yeah. Would you say that's one of the scariest things that you think about, or things like what's one of your biggest fears, really? When you think about your life, what would be one of your greatest fears?
To fail?
Yeah. To fail at something like this?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have this concept that every fear is just the opposite side of a coin of a desire. And so the thing that you're most scared of is actually the backside of the thing that you'd most desire. Like, how many of you are afraid of robbing a bank? Not from day to day, besides Tim, like nobody's really feeling that fear, right? Because you don't desire it. And when you feel fear about this, it's because on the other side you really want it. And so this is kind of this can be both enlightening and really sucky to hear that like the thing that scares you the most is the thing that you most want to do. Nobody wants to take that to their grave, right? So it's like, shit, there it is again. Knock, knock, knock. It's calling me because I'm afraid. When I feel that nauseousness, it's like the opposite side of the heart. And so when I see you talking about that and like the fear of failing at that, and you're so conscious and aware of all the places where you might fail, all the difficulties, and you're conscious of those because there's a part of you that really, there's a purpose there. There's a mission. There's something calling you to do that. And that's why those fears come up. Just like why they don't for the bank robbery. And so, tell us more about this dream, if you're willing to share with us about this idea, this vision. Because it's just kind of like stuck. Doesn't it seem like it's this huge, incredibly beautiful dream just kind of jammed in the middle of a bunch of other stuff? That's what it feels like from out here. So share with us about this a bit.
I just think that, so I come from a French-speaking island.
Which one?
Martinique.
Okay.
And we are around many other islands, but in the meantime, I feel that we're alone because we don't really communicate with them,
Okay.
or we don't have a proper communications with them.
Okay.
And I was really surprised to discover much about this island when I came to London.
Yeah.
And I just feel that it's a shame that there are so many opportunities for us within the Caribbean, and we are not integrated enough.
Okay.
And I just see it as an open door on the world for us. And I think it would be great to share with those people out there that looks like us at the end. And we're not, from my point of view, we'll not do that enough.
So what would you love to do? Like, this is create a link. What is that? What would that look like? What ideas do you have?
It could be about language exchanges to start. Because, for example, when I was in high school, I had to go to the United Kingdom to
learn,
improve my English, whether I could just go to a closer island to do so. And it's just a shame. It could be from a business perspective also. So I don't have a precise idea, but I just think that there's definitely something to do there.
So let me share a perspective again on that. This is one of the reasons that you might have not taken action. You haven't taken action on this at all, have you?
No.
Okay. One of the reasons you may not have, which is so common, happens to everybody, means myself included, is that, as you said, the dream's not clear. It's not specific. So many of us have dreams that are ambiguous and cloudy. The dream is an essence. It's creating a link between one place and another. But how do you wake up in the morning and create a link? It's so hard to do that. And it's enough of an essence for us to dream and imagine the things that scare us, because you've got some great specificity around where you might fail, but not as much around what you want to create. Because we go right into fear, we start limiting, criticizing, and come up with all these specific things that we could fail at. Instead of allowing ourselves to just imagineer, and come up with clarity and specificity about what the dream is. And we're also hesitant sometimes to do that, because what if that's not exactly the right thing? What if it isn't language and it's business, or this something specific here? And that brings in another trap, that there is a right way, but there's not. You're just making it up. Stop trying to find it, create it. So ambiguity, cloudy dreams are one of the things that stop us. And so as I asked you a deeper question, like, well, more specifically, what do you mean? And you said language and business. And from here, if we were working together in coaching, I would go into the language, like, what do you mean? Would there be language schools? Well, I don't know what would be the right thing. No, not the right thing. Like, what would you like it to be? Let's just make it up. Let's just create it. Let's just imagine. And as you come up with all the day ideas, great, let's write all that stuff down. And you start to get this huge mass. And instead of it being about business, it's about, well, actually, this specific type of business and this service and these products and all these different ideas become clarity, and they become all these things. Then all of a sudden you have this huge dream that's got all these specific elements to it, right? And then what do people do when they have these big dreams usually? It's just crushing me, and they carry it around, and they might come over here and they might be like, hey, can I tell you about my dream? And they're like, it's just crushing them, and it's got all these things that take me about an hour to explain, and the fear is also that big too. And then when people have that, I say, let me just take that off you for a second. Let me just hold that dream for a second. I say, be careful with it, it's delicate. I say, no, just trust me, okay? And I take it and I go, bam! I smash it on the ground into 1,000,000 little pieces, this big. And they're like, well, what the hell did you just do to my dream? You just smashed it into the ground into 1,000,000 pieces. I'm like, I know, just wait. Don't move. You don't want to step on any of these pieces because they're all really, really valuable. What we're going to do is we're going to put it back together. And we reach down, and I pick up one little piece, and I put it in my mouth, and I swallow it. My body starts to shake, and then I go, and I reach out and I pick up the phone and I make a call and I say, hello. I say, language centers in this country? Yeah, I was just curious. What would it cost to set up a language program on my island for 6 months? Great, thanks. Click. And then I go back, whoa, what was that? every single little piece of this dream was some tiny little action that I took. And so by smashing it into a million pieces, I remind myself that it's just this whole dream, this whole thing, it's just a collection of a bunch of little things that I did. And if I'm trying to carry this around and build this, it's so much weight, it's so heavy. So when I take people's dreams and I smash them into a million pieces, I just want them to remember that like it's just a bunch of little pieces. And then once you have those, you can pick the first one up, you can eat it, and you can do that thing. So now that I've smashed your dream into a million little pieces, if you were to say, all I'm going to do, I'm not going to do this whole thing, but now that you've smashed my dream into a million pieces, tiniest, smallest step that you could take if you were to move forward in creating this dream, what's the first tiny piece you would pick up?
I will go to the tourism committee in my island to talk with them and see what are their plans to exchange with other islands.
Cool. Does it make sense?
I don't know.
Yeah, could be a great step. Is that something you're willing to do when you go home in 2 months?
I can do that.
Will you do that?
I will do that.
Cool. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Round of applause.